Hello everyone, it's another episode on strengthening our mind. I want to talk about a big deal. Anticipating pain. The 7 steps to get over anticipation and living feelings before you need to. Hello everyone, big subject today. I want to go through the pain of anticipating pain. Now this is so real. So many people live their lives. They die thousands of times before they ever die. They have thousands of panic attacks before they ever deal with a stressful situation. The anticipation of pain that creates pain is fundamental to ending suffering, which is the mission. We want to live our lives without suffering. Pain is real, but it only happens in the moment. Suffering is when you hold on to that pain and recycle it through repetitive thought concepts. It's that simple, and it can be ended. For 2,500 years, we have ended suffering for certain individuals who have trained their mind, and that's what we're doing right now. So as always, I'm going to begin with a quote on the subject, and that quote is, "If pleasures are greatest in anticipation, just remember this is also true of troubles." Albert Hubbard. If pleasures are greatest in anticipation, just remember that's also true of troubles. You've heard it said a million times, where it's people saying, "Oh, when we dated, it was so exciting, and now we're married, it's sort of gone," or "The idea of this job was so fantastic, but now I'm here, it's not as great as I thought." The reality is that your anticipation, your mental construct of what things are going to be like, are generally pretty rosy. And in situations where you think it'll be pleasurable, you think that the party will be that much more fun, and when you get there, you realise you're just there. And what's really happening is we spend so much time not being in the moment. When we get to the moment we think is important, we're thinking about how it should be better, so we're leaving that moment, and we constantly have this leapfrogging situation where we never ever really experience or have the fun and joy we need. Now, what the quote also says is it's also true of troubles. If you can make a party seem 1,000 times better in your brain than it actually is when you get there, this is the real kicker. You do that with everything else that's negative. So for example, if you're worried about a conversation you're about to have with a friend, a colleague, or your boss, the way you play it out in your mind is worse than it will be almost every time. And you don't really need to live through it. Has it ever helped anyone to be anxious, nervous, and fretful before they've gone into a meeting? No, it's never helped anyone. Being calm and resourceful is what always helps. I know my personal story, the expectations I had for life, my little story, just never seemed to come true. I always thought I should have a little bit more money by this age, I should be a bit more progressed in my job, or there was all these other things that need to be done. Oh no, I'm not going to be completed. By the end of my story, I won't have completed the story. And the reality was, what were those expectations? They were just conflagrations of ideas that came into my head that I pieced together and sewn together as a narrative. And the narrative had nothing to do with my moment. My moment, I should have been happy with all the things I had, but I never was, because I never understood the pain of anticipating pain. So how do we get out of this hole? This is a big one. Once we beat this, and we're going to beat this today, really we can move forward and have bad things, have painful things happen to us, but only have them enter our lives for a very short moment and then leave and grow us and make us stronger. So number one, remember deeply, you can only experience anything in the moment. So if you're excited about your wedding day and you can't wait, you think about it for months and months, remember that if you really want to be focused on your wedding day, which of course so many people do, and if you really want to enjoy it, which so many people do, practice being in the moment. Because if you realize on your wedding day you can only enjoy it when you're there, you should really focus on being here right now, because by the time you've trained your brain on the day of your wedding day, you'll be able to practice mindfulness and really enjoy it. I'll tell you what, if you practice thinking about your wedding day when you're not there, that practice will make sure that on the wedding day you're not thinking there. I know, I do this with my children all the time. I don't like thinking about my children, because I think about them so much, and just how wonderful and incredible they are. And I say to myself, well, they're not here. So thinking about them, let's come back to the present. All that passion and love I have for them that I was thinking about right now, let's save it and bring it into the moment I'm with them. And it serves me very well as a father. Number two, Mark Twain, you're a man. I've lived through some terrible things in my life, some of which actually happened. Think about this. I've lived through some terrible things in my life, some of which that actually happened. I'll tell you what, if people's lives were as they thought, geez, it would be the biggest drama in the world, but it's never that bad. It's okay, you'll survive. And even if you don't survive, that's okay, because you won't have thought about that, you'll be dead, you've got nothing to worry about. Number 3, pain leaves effortlessly, suffering requires work. You know how, you'll stub your toe, oh my, I don't know what it is about toes, I don't know why they need to be this pain sensitive, there must be an evolutionary advantage, but I don't dig it. But you stub your toe, and I do this, I'm always going barefoot, especially at the beach. I'll stub my toe and I'll be like, that is the most painful thing that could ever happen to a human being. Sorry for all the women who've had childbirth, but that's how it feels for me. And I think, oh God, that hurts, when will this end? And then it ends. Without warning, it went from being super painful to not hurting anymore. And that's what nature does. If you stubbed your toe, you need to know it's hurt. You need to check it out, make sure it's not bleeding, and then move on. Pain leaves. It is designed to leave. Your body understands it can't keep you in constant pain because it will kill you. But we're much smarter than that. We keep ourselves in constant suffering by thinking about the pain and thinking how it should be different. Suffering requires work. Aren't you busy enough? Stop putting all this effort into reiterating or thinking about painful moments that happened in your past that have already left your soul, left your body, and bringing them back in, inviting them back in through your thought processes. 4, the power. You power thought. Power is a choo-choo steam engine, and the steam that powers the engine is thought. When you think about these situations you are labeling as bad right now in the moment, even though you have no perspective whatsoever, are constantly powering those thoughts. I'm like you. I have crazy thoughts sometimes. Sometimes I think, oh, my life, it's not going, it's no good. And I'll just say to that, maybe it's no good. I don't know who said that or what noises, but maybe is the answer I give to every thought. It's such a powerful technique. Ultimately, because if I wasn't to answer with maybe, and if I was to answer with a yes or no, I'm creating the power, the steam, the conversation for that thought to continue, come up with arguments and counter-arguments. Don't need that noise. Number 5, if there was a watch on the ground, and I use this, I don't even know if this is a good example, I use it all the time, so maybe through repetition it's getting good. If there was a watch on the ground, and you'd seen it, and a friend in front of you had seen it, and you both looked at each other and said, do you know where that watch came from? And the person aside from you went, no, and you go, well, I don't know where that watch came from. An observer with acknowledging that situation would say, if asked who owns that watch, you'd say, well, neither of those parties own that watch because they don't know where it came from. So therefore, it cannot be their watch, which is pretty straightforward, right? Like if someone go, well, that fell off my wrist, or no, I know what that watch is, it's my watch. Now, what's interesting is think about thoughts. Where did your thought come from? Think about this. Where did your thought come from? You don't know. You don't know why on the train you suddenly think about Las Vegas rather than Los Angeles. You don't know why when you smell roses you feel happy versus feeling sad. You don't really know. And if you don't know where they're coming from, and we don't, science doesn't know why you choose one thing over during your mental daydream states, then they don't belong to you. They simply don't belong to you. And that's a hard thing to hear because we love to think they're our thoughts. They're not your thoughts. You are much more than your thoughts. You're the observer, the witness of your thoughts. It's kind of like people really intently watching a tennis game, watching this guy hit the tennis ball, and then going, that's me, I'm the guy. Well, you're not. You're observing the guy. And I know you're really focused. I know you're really into this tennis play, but it's not you. That's the same with thoughts. I know you're really focused. I know you're really into them, but they're not you. You're much, much more powerful than your thoughts. Pain is feedback. It simply is feedback. It has a place. Trust me, this universe is perfect and there's nothing out of ordinary in this universe. And pain is simply designed to get you back on track, on course. Because as your soul, your spirit, your karmic journey develops through your millions of incarnations through DNA, when you think about people who don't believe in reincarnation, there must be some truth to the fact that we pass DNA through our lineage, that we can see our ancestors in our DNA, that we can trace ourselves back. It's really interesting. We can trace ourselves back through history. But anyway, we need to know that this feedback is growing us as an individual. So use it as simply feedback. Remove the words that say pain is awful to pain is feedback. It's really helpful. Finally, pain is when your expectations of the world let you down. It happens. Sometimes we think we're going to get the job and we don't get the job. And we go, oh. Now what's the problem? The problem is we thought we were going to get the job. That's okay. It's okay to think you're going to get the job. But suffering is when you believe your expectation had value. Of course you thought you were going to get the job. But the reality is that someone has to not get the job. Now, holding on to your expectation being better than everyone else's, or even worse, better than reality, will create suffering. Have your beliefs. Go into things with confidence. Know that this is what you want. But at the end of the day, whatever the nature deals you is the real deal. You can't argue with it because you're part of nature. You somehow created the events that led you not getting the job. This is something to think about. Pain is short term, it's feedback, it directs you in the path your soul needs to go. Suffering is powered, the steam engine of suffering is powered by your thought. Once we get this, we really can eliminate suffering, deal with the pain, deal with the stubbed toes every once in a while. It's definitely something to think about, and I can't wait to see you till tomorrow. Until then, goodbye.